Jeanette calling from Toronto. Jeanette, there she is. What's your question for the candidates here tonight, Jeanette?
My question is, both of the major parties are offering to supplement seniors' income by $50 a month. I'm wondering if they've given any thought to how far $50 a month is going to go. It won't even cover my gas bill to get out and about.
All right, I don't know where you got exactly the $50 figure. Mario, you shed a little light on that?
Well, I'm not sure also with the number.
I'm not sure about the number.
You know, but certainly we're saying is that in terms of a family care program is we're going to invest about $1 billion, and there is also $700 million going to the guaranteed income supplement as well for seniors across the country.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is that I think there's a valid point she's making, regardless of what the amount is that it is very difficult for a lot of seniors and a lot of people
who live below the poverty line.
Absolutely.
Who are kidding?
It's very difficult, you know, who have these properties that booked over the years. It's the case of my parents as well. I mean, we're coming from a working class family. My father worked in construction. My mother was a clean lady. I'm very much a product of the working class family, and my father was very strong, also involved with the union movement as well. Which, but the thing is that it is very difficult for them to make ends meet and to pay all these different bills that keep on rising constantly in our city, whether it's property taxes, whether it's electricity, and so forth. So these are things that we have to make sure that we can, in fact, you know, work to help them out.
$50. $50
not going to go very far.
Certainly not going to go very far. Now, just for clarity, I think, and Teresa Rodriguez, the Conservative candidate, is not here. I'm assuming Jeanette is talking about what was in the budget document, which included a little bump up for seniors on the GIS. So I guess that's what it is. What would you like to say on?
I think that kind of a.
She said two major parties, but you have some help in your platform.
Well, absolutely,
for
absolutely.
Seniors as well.
I mean, no one in Canada could. I mean, everyone in Canada knows that Jack Layton has been the major advocate for seniors and bumping pensions up for seniors and making our country a country where no senior will live in poverty. And you know, the amount of money that was in the budget was, in my view, an insult to seniors. You know, everything is going up. All the bills that seniors have to deal with are going up except their pensions. And these are people that have built our city, built our country. We've got to treat them with the respect that they deserve.
Wayne Scott, what's in the Green Party platform about seniors?
About poverty, let's go there, and let's not confine it to seniors. The Green Party is in favor of a guaranteed livable income, where we bring everybody above the poverty level. But we still allow people to,
whether you're working or retired.
Whether you're working or you're retired, you're you know, everybody gets it. Whether you're disabled, whether you're out of work, any of these things. If everybody had a guaranteed livable income, then we wouldn't have these problems, and then we could also get rid of a lot of the bureaucracy that takes care of managing these things, and with the savings there.
Well, where do we find all that money?
That's what I'm saying. We find it from getting rid of the bureaucracy and also taxing pollution. Instead of we tax the bad things in our society, not the things that we like. We don't tax income, and we don't tax employers. We tax pollution, the use of the bad things that we want to get rid of.
Your own party in its platform wants to legalize marijuana and tax it.
That's right.
And then run ads saying it's bad for you.
Well,
that sounds like the cigarette industry, doesn't it?
The cigarette industry, the alcohol industry. I'd include the auto industry.
But isn't that sucking and blowing at the same time by making it legal and then saying don't use it, and at the same time collecting taxes?
Not at all. What we have is a system that doesn't work. We've had a prohibition system on marijuana, and it doesn't work. I was putting up Green Party signs the other day, and a 13-year-old kid came up to me and said, "Can I have a Green Party sign?" And I said, "Sure, you can have a Green Party sign." He said, "Great, are you guys going to legalize marijuana?" So here's a kid that's smoking marijuana at 13.
Well, he can't vote for you at 13. You better convince his father.
He was going to put it on his grandfather's lawn.
Oh, okay.
But here's the point.
Right.
Here's somebody that's already obviously into this stuff in a system that says that they're doing something. We're supporting organized crime with this. We are, you know, it turns it into a crime, right? If we legalize it, tax it, and grow it, and license growers, then it changes the entire perspective of this thing. We can deal with the problems, and we can try and get people, advise them as to the abuse problems.
Okay, let me go in a financial direction if I can. How important will it be in years to come to balance the budget, get rid of the deficit, Mario Silva?
Well, it's extremely important. I mean, that's one of the difficult choices we had to make when Chrétien was there, was in fact we had to balance the budget because billions of dollars was going out in just paying for the interest alone. And we bought ourselves into good economic record.
Yeah, but talk about now. We're 56 big ones in the
hole. You
hole.
have to give a little bit of history here, Dale. So I'm saying that...
I think a lot of people know that history. Maybe they'd like to hear from your party when you're going to get rid of the deficit again.
Well, we are committed again to eliminating the deficit. And I'm trying to say that it's very important to get rid of the deficit because it's only... Right now we're paying $2–3 billion annually just on interest rates. That money could be used for something else.
When?
When do we get balance the balance? We really have.
When would we get rid of the deficit?
Well, our hope is to get balanced within the first 3–4 years when we get into power.
3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What about the deficit from the New Democratic point of view?
Well,
what do you
one of the things that we've got to do is roll back these corporate tax cuts. A regime of tax cuts that was started under the Paul Martin government.
Yeah, but that money's going to go to social programs promised by your party.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily going to go to pay down the deficit.
Part of it is going to go down to, it's going to be to pay down the deficit, absolutely.
Then how long would it take?
It's going to take about 4 years.
About 4 years.
Yeah, but you know, we've got things like fighter jets, which you know, we really ought not to be purchasing. Right, the NDP has been very firm on that one. We got corporate tax cuts, which, you know, we're giving the wealthiest corporations in Canada.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's talk about that in a minute.
But we're giving the people the HST.
I wanted to get everybody's opinion on the deficit. Wayne Scott, on the deficit, when are you going to get rid of it?
The Green Party has a plan in our platform, Vision Green. It's a very comprehensive document, 128 pages, all costed. We'll get rid of the deficit before the Conservatives they say in 2015, but...
well, now they're saying 2014.
Well, because they found the 11
billion. It's like a bidding war, right?
They found the 11 billion. Well, we have a way of doing it and a way of doing it properly, where we're not going to get into other problems. No jets, not the jets and jails idea that the Conservatives are putting forward. But as I say, it's all costed out and it's available online at greenparty.ca under the heading Vision Green on the platform.
All platforms are out now. Anybody can go to the party websites and have a look and study it in some detail. Here's Tom calling on the line. Tom, do you have a question for the candidates?
Yes, I do. I'm curious to know why none of the parties have mentioned anything about the rising gas prices, especially since it's such a direct relationship to our economy. Our economy's supposedly coming back, but we still have high inflation yet. There's nothing being done about the gas prices. Worst of all, nobody's speaking about the gas prices rising.
Yeah. All right, Tom, thank you very much for that. Andrew Cash, what about that? I think Tom's absolutely correct. I haven't heard much in the way of political conversation about the gas taxes in
well,
this
you know, one of the reasons for the rise, I mean, there's international reasons, but there's also HST on gas. This is something that the NDP fought, and we fought it because it's not a fair tax. It's a bit of a rip-off for everyday folks. And the HST is on gas, and we...
So that's the way you would attack it?
Yeah, well, right now what we're trying to do, I mean, we were against the HST, we voted against it, we were the only party in the House that did, and we are still advocating to get rid of the HST on the home heating costs.
Wayne Scott, gas is very expensive. I know you don't use any, but for others who do, who drive vehicles, what is the Green Party going to do about that?
Well, again, it comes down to what I said right off the top. It comes down to a sustainable transportation program and strategy to attack all of this.
Yeah, but in the meantime, gas is still going to be expensive.
Yes,
right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But that's because the demand is so great, and because the supply is dwindling. And what we have is industry that continue. We've just bailed out the auto industry. Did they take that money and come up with smarter designs? No. We're still building automobiles, but we're selling more trucks. We're still building the big metal to benefit the auto companies, and they use more gas. The big trucks use more.
Yeah, but we know that already. We want to know if you can do anything about the gas prices in the short term before we move to, I don't know, some kind of economy many years in the future where we're not going to have to rely on
what it comes down to is it's not just government that has to do this. There has to be a change in the way we think about all this stuff.
But who's going to change our minds about that?
We have to do it ourselves. If we're having problems, the onus is on ourselves, number one, as individuals, to come up with a better strategy, reorganize our lives to some extent, and to change our priorities. This idea of one size fits all with the vehicles we use, even if it's down to the corner coffee shop. I remember when the Escalade was first brought out, they had an ad that said, "This is the most powerful SUV on the planet. Use it, even if it's just down to the corner coffee shop." I mean, it's insane.
Okay, all right. Mario, what about gas prices? Is there anything that can realistically be done to control the price?
Well, right now we know that there's a huge demand from a lot of countries, emerging markets throughout the world, who are using more and more of the petrol, and that's creating a demand also here in Canada, raising the prices. And my biggest fear has to do with the fact that it's also raising the dollar in Canada. Look at the dollar today; it is in fact killing manufacturing jobs in Ontario and throughout the country.
Any that weren't killed during the recession are being killed now, maybe by the imbalanced dollar.
So this is a big concern that I have was with the rising dollar, which is very much tied to the petrol industry.
But the point is, we're held as Canadians in a world market for gasoline, for oil. There really isn't much we can do to control the price, is there?
Well, sorry.
Now, Karen, I want to hear from him now. I'll come back to you.
We need alternative also sources of energy sources for this country. And renewable has to be something that we have to be working on.
But in the meantime, we're going to have to grin and bear it on the big price, aren't we?
We have to do, I mean, you know, Europe went through major transformation changes when there was high prices as well at the gas station. That's what made sort of Europe rethink and reshape its economy to a greener economy, for a renewable economy. And I think Canada needs to do that as well. I know in Ontario they have several projects as well in place for wind energy and solar energy, but that needs to be also partnered with the federal government, including a retrofit program, which we also have in place as well. It's a small package, but it's an important package as well. In terms of greener jobs, greener economy, that's what needs to be done, in fact, to get people less dependent on alternative vehicles as well to the ones we have.
For sure. Andrew, you want to add something to that?
Well, I'm sure the caller's kind of rolling his eyes because it's like, you know, he's getting hammered at the pump. And, you know, we're talking about a lot of things that aren't going to affect that for him. And I think what we have to get back to is the fact that this city is becoming a very unaffordable place for too many folks. You know, transit, public transit, we need to invest.
So you don't have any ideas for the caller either, I guess.
Well, the idea we had initially was, you know, let's not do the HST. That's part of the issue here. But no, as far as investing in public transit, we've got to make public transit a viable option for drivers.
I don't understand Andrew's issue about the HST, because, you know, in Nova Scotia, where there's an NDP government, they've raised the HST, and Jack Layton said nothing about it. So I'm not sure. In Ontario, he's saying it's against HST, and BCC is against HST because it's Liberal provincial government. But in Nova Scotia, where there's an NDP government, it's okay to raise the HST. It's okay to keep the HST. There's a little bit of inconsistency there within the NDP policy.
What would the Liberals do if they formed the government? They wouldn't get rid of the HST.
Well, we're not talking about getting rid of the HST. But at the same time, we're not playing hypocrisy and saying we're okay with here, but we're not okay here.
Okay. Well, what about that?